The brothers decided to hold a sit-in until their molds are reused for Saltman repaints. Could someone in Brazil or Argentina let me know if they ever do that so these two could get back to work? We have the last deluxe on my hit list, which is Twin Twist, the remold of a toy I called the best toy of 2017 so far, and I still stand by those words. So, how does his reversed colored brother stand up? That is what we decide today. For starters, you can tell it is definitely the same mold. You've got plenty of the similar features, though we do have plenty of remolds to distinguish the two. For starters, of course, the plastic colors have swapped, and while the blue seems pretty close, the plastic is actually a slightly off-white. I've actually seen someone swap parts around, so you had an all-blue and an all-white one, and you can actually tell the difference between the two shades. It's a little bit odd, but it is what they did. Now, I'm not going to argue it. It's their toy. But yeah, either way, it's a slightly off-white with a very nice blue and looking very reminiscent of the original, though, of course, they've done a lot to upgrade it and make it stand out as more than just your standard little gimmicky flippy toy. Very nice job on some details like the treads, which are one of the new remolds. Plenty of tank tread details in there, done up in a lot of black plastic. You see plenty of red and yellow here, as well as a little bit of yellow in the front, where you can also see the Autobot sigil. And then if we look toward the back, we see that the thrusters from the top spin version of the mold have been retooled into some more of a vertical style. Definitely still looks like some kind of power thruster for getting through big mountains, but it's not quite as spacey, which I think is pretty appropriate here. Of course, the big remold is, of course, the nose cones that have been replaced with two very nice, brilliantly painted silver drills, which is very cool. I always liked the idea of a drill tank. Even if it's not that practical, it's still kind of cool. Like, I don't know what it is about something that can just burrow through a mountain whenever it wants or tunnel underground. It's just a neat little thing, especially in the realm of sci-fi. See a little bit of white left exposed there as well. So I do believe, yeah, the parts are very, very heavily painted to get that blue and the silver. So, yeah, it's not a bad vehicle, and of course it should look like Topspin. The two were basically the same mold in G1 anyway, so that's not too much of a surprise. Should not surprise you also to find out that the Titan Master inside, who's being stubborn because I don't have thumbnails and can get under his cockpit window, is also pretty much the same as the first release. So, Topspin's little buddy was Freeze Out. This is Flame Out, which, yeah, that's clever naming, I'll give you that. It's the same mold. You have a little bit of a blue visor, but that is pretty much it. If it wasn't for that blue visor, he'd look like a prototype. This really just looks like a generic figure. It's a little bit disappointing, Hasbro. Like, seriously, I'm really getting tired of reporting the exact same, oh, the Titan Master is not painted, and it's the same level of articulation, ball joints, ball joint neck, double hinge. That's all it does. So let's at least see what he does in combination with his partner here. So we have these two slots on the top that can mount a Titan Master by their heel peg, which does let you ride two additional ones on the toy. And that makes a little bit more sense to me than just a peg, so they just stand there while something flies at Mach 3. And it's just ironic because this is the slowest moving vehicle in the line so far, at least I can tell. And he has that same awesome gun, which has this big four-barreled, I'm kind of a Hemi engine look, but not really, which does split into two, should you want it. And I prefer it split because it actually does a good job of hiding the fact that it's actually a Titan Master seat when combined. You can see in there the groove where you get your Titan Master to actually peg in. Does a good job of hiding that nature. Unfortunately, it doesn't do as good of a job actually attaching to Twin Twist. The weapons are definitely designed for top spin. There's not as many good places to store them here. Nothing that really goes flat to the vehicle like it did for top spin. So you almost get a jet mode looking out of that. But yeah, it's a little bit disappointing. I wish there was some way to flatten the weapon against the sides, you know, like that. but it is what it is. So we'll get those off, and we'll see how the robot mode stands. Go ahead and get that out of the way. It's the same clever transformation I really liked, so this is no surprise. The transformation's still really good. Flip out the foot and lock all that into place, giving you our leg, and we'll do the same on the other. I want to flip out the little knee pads just to make sure the legs have a little bit of room there. Yep. Flip out the foot, close the shell, legs. All right, so the entire torso is going to have to spin around on its axis. First off, we need to get the cockpit out of the way. So to do that, we'll go ahead and get the arms out of the center mass. Go ahead and fold up everything. With that all out of the way, we can go ahead and rotate that around. Yep. I'm trying to make sure it's all in camera frame here. Click down and then rotate again. Lots going on to make sure that all gets into the correct spot. I love it. So here's the other clever trick to the transformation. Fold out that tab, and you get not only a flip out fist, but also an extending bicep. We'll go ahead and do it again. Panel out, bicep out, hand out. Close it all up, nice and solid. We'll go ahead and flip the treads to the back of the shoulders, and that's going to give us our robot sans head. We're just do a quick flip to flame out, click them into place, and there we go. That is a finished top spin. Again, like I said, it is the same really excellent transformation. There's no new twists to it other than you do have to fold his treads back, where his top spin just left him out. But other than that, yeah, it's still really solid. It's a really fun transformation. So, looking at him now, that he actually has a head on his shoulders, I will admit there is something very troop buildery about Top Spin and Twin Twist, and I think Twin Twist more so, since he lacks any of the paint on the helmet in order to get across a little bit of his own personality. It's not a bad look. It captures the G1, which is what I really ask for, but for the most part, yeah, I could see why some just kind of consider this guy a little bit generic. Maybe that's why he's a wrecker, so they have to replace him. Nobody notices so fast. So he is rather big for a deluxe in this toy line. He's very solid, very boxy and blocky. Let's see, do I have a quick comparison? Well, I guess I can do I can have Mind Wipe here, where you can see he definitely has he uses his bulk so well in order to create this really big buff robot mode. He's noticeably taller, noticeably thicker in a lot of spots, which is one of the biggest draws to this mold. I feel that it feels like you're getting your money's worth with the figure. It's not just that it's really well engineered, it also feels like it has size for its price. So looking at him in general, we have some differences in the paint apps. I'll go ahead and get Top Spin in here so you can see the Brothers United. You can see on the shoulders we have opted for painting some different details up. And there's plenty of remolds going on here, but they also made sure that the deco was going in a different direction to further separate the two. You have other sections like around the belly where they kept it pretty much identical, which works for this, as well as changed up some of the chest deco. But for the most part, you can see, even if it's the different color, it's painted all in the same area. So they do keep that twin look going pretty strong. So that works in their favor a lot. What is strange about this mold to me is there's something about it that does not quite work as well. I get the feeling that it's because you have to fold these treads to the back, where they don't really do anything aesthetically. They just kind of hang there, and it actually makes the shoulder look a little bit thinner than the forearm, which is kind of strange. I think something about Top Spin being wider because of the wings, and not obviously he's wider because of the wings, but I mean how they come down and then go out, that fills out the arm and makes it look a little bit thicker than it is. Whereas here you've got all that bulk going upward and backward, where it's not really doing Twin Twist any good, and for some reason that's throwing me off. I'm not sure why. Or it might just be the fact that this is not a G1 accurate detail, whereas Top Spin's wings are. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but there's definitely something a little bit off about him. It's very hard to place my finger on it, even though everything's otherwise well done. Speaking of, we go to the articulation roundup so we can see a fully ball jointed neck, which works quite well on this guy. Ball joints in the shoulders that are quite large and quite solid. We also have that torso joint if you want a little bit more range. Elbow, full 180. That is brilliant. No rotation in the wrist. We do have a waist rotation though. Thank you, Transformation. Ball joints in the hips, which work out great. 360 on the thigh and a 90-degree bend at the knee. No ankle tilt, but his feet are big, solid, and very flat, so you have plenty of balance when he needs it. This gives you a really cool range of motion. This guy can get into plenty of action poses and does a fairly good job balancing. He's not difficult to get into a cool pose. And then, of course, we have the weaponry, where the weaponry definitely helps and looks quite cool. Dual wielding, silver guns, definitely works for me. So that, my friends, is Titans Return Twin Twist. Now, I did call his brother the best toy in the line, and I still stand by that. And his brother is the same great mold. It's still a fantastic transformation with plenty of good articulation and detail. While some are going to find him looking a little bit generic, the fact that he's a drill tank alone is pretty unique, so you've already got a little bit of an edge over those who might have found top spin a little bit boring. That said, I can't help but feel like he doesn't wear the mold as well as his brother does, so it's a little bit hard to say which one you're going to find favor with. I do still prefer top spin. I feel like it just works better on him. But if you need a pair of wreckers, both are still really good toys. And if Twin Twist is the only one you can find at this point, well, he ain't a bad substitute. It's still the great figure that it started out as.